All right, let's talk about mental math. Ever find yourself kind of stuck doing subtraction in your head? Well, today we're going to unlock this really cool, simple trick from Vedic mathematics. Trust me, it can make those calculations feel way, way easier.
So let's be real. You see a problem like this, subtracting 457 from 1,000, what does your brain do, right? It probably starts that whole borrowing and carrying thing. It's just clunky. It's slow. And you know what? That's a super common problem. But what if I told you there's a totally different way to attack this?
Okay, so the solution comes from this ancient system called Vedic math. And the whole secret, the core idea we're going to dive into, is something called a complement. Simple name, but it's really powerful.
So what on earth is a complement? Well, think of it like this. It's just the missing piece you need to get to a nice, easy number. Like 10, or 100, or 1,000. It's all about finding what you need to complete a number.
Here's maybe an even easier way to think about it. It's like a number's other half. You've got one part, and the complement is the other part you need to make a whole. Like if the whole is 10, what's the other piece of the puzzle?
All right, let's get our hands dirty with this. We'll start with the base we all use every single day, base 10. This is where you'll really start to see the magic happen.
Okay, super simple example to start. What is the complement of 4 to the base 10? In other words, what's its partner to make 10? Look how easy this is. You just start with the base, which is 10. Then you subtract the number you've got, which is 4, and boom, the complement is 6. It really is that simple.
And this is the really important bit. 4 and 6 are complements because they add up to 10. They're a pair, a team. And see, this is more than just a calculation. It's about retraining your brain to spot these patterns. Pretty soon, you won't even see 4 and 6 as separate things, but just as two halves that make a whole 10.
Okay, so that's base 10, but here's where it gets really cool. This logic, it's not just for base 10. Nope, this is a universal rule. It works for any base you can imagine.
And here it is, the golden rule. Base minus number equals complement. That's it. That's the whole secret. Whatever your target base is, you just subtract your number and you've got its complement. Simple. So let's put it to the test with a different base. What if our goal wasn't 10? What if we wanted to get to 9? What's the complement of 7 to the base 9? Okay, we just use the exact same formula, right? The base is 9, the number is 7. So 9 minus 7, that gives us 2. The complement of 7 in base 9 is 2. Why? Because 7 plus 2 gets you to 9. The logic is exactly the same.
All right, let's do one more real quick just to make sure it sticks. Same base, so base 9. But what's the complement of 6? You can probably already see the answer in your head, can't you?
Yep, you got it. The base is 9, the number is 6, so the complement has to be 3. See? Once you get the hang of this pattern, you can find these complements almost instantly, no matter what the base is. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Look at it side by side. The goal changes, right? One is making 10, the other is making 9. So the formula looks a little different. But the process, that core idea of base minus number, it's identical. It doesn't change. So at this point you might be thinking, okay, that's a neat little party trick, but so what? Why does this actually matter? How does this simple little idea make your math faster?
Well, this brings us right back to that problem we started with. The real power of complements, it just shines when you're subtracting from a big round number like 100 or 1,000. Instead of doing all that messy borrowing and carrying for 1,000 minus 457, you just find the complement of 457. You're not subtracting anymore, you're just completing the number. It turns a hard problem into a super simple find the partner game.
So what should you take away from all this? First, complements are your secret weapon for subtraction. That base minus number rule is key. But maybe more importantly, doing this stuff builds a stronger, more intuitive sense for how numbers work together. And believe me, this is just the first step. This is the foundation for some even more advanced, even faster ways to calculate.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with today. I mean, we've just barely scratched the surface here. If this one simple idea, just finding a number's other half, can completely change how we look at something as basic as subtraction, just imagine what other tricky math problems could suddenly become simple if we just learned to look at them in a different way.